Hey, welcome everyone to day 2 of the Notary Public Day Extravaganza. This is Marcy here, and I'm super excited to have fellow notary from New York, also New Jersey, but I'm in New York too. Rob Young from State Line Notary. Hey, Rob, thanks so much for joining us today. I certainly appreciate you.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for organizing this, Marcy. This is a fantastic resource for any notary out there.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. I'm so glad everyone's come to the sessions and getting good information. And I am not going to take any more time here because everyone loves the Google business stuff. And I know that Rob's got some great information for you. So as usual, chat amongst yourselves in the chat, drop any questions in the Q&A, and we'll answer them all at the end for you. So Rob, take it away.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Rob Young. I am my business is State Line Notary. Um, Hold on one second. It's not letting me. There we go. Okay. My business is State Line Notary. I am a dual commissioned notary in Rockland County. So I border New Jersey. So I'm dual commissioned New York and New Jersey. And what I'm going to be talking to you about today is mastering my Google My Business page. And that's keeping that optimized so that you're getting the phone calls and turning that into revenue. All right. About me, owner of State Line Notary. Already said that. I'm a former project manager, did that for 20 years for some large communication companies, and then had a couple of life events, and then found Notary. So there's some stuff out there. And Marcy and I did an interview where I talk more about that. Don't have time to go into that now. I am dual commissioned. I've been in New York Notary for about 3 years and New Jersey Notary for about 1 year. And I specialize in estate planning, real estate, and mobile notary work. I am also a RON. I've touched on apostille work once or twice. I don't get into things like fingerprinting or I-9 verification or anything like that. I've chosen to specialize in estate planning and real estate. And passionate about helping new notaries. Oh, all right. I'm gonna like move the boxes around because I'm covering up my own text here. There we go. All right, what are we going to cover today? So understanding the power of Google My Business for a service-based business like what we are, notaries. Optimizing Google My Business profile for maximum impact. You want to be in that 3-pack. They always talk about that 3-pack at when somebody searches notary near me, you really want to show up in those top 3. And I'm going to show you things to do to move you into that, especially if you're just starting out. Engaging customers and building trust through Google My Business. And I might also use a Google Business Profile, GMB, Google Business Profile. I'm kind of using them interchangeably. Don't get thrown off by that if I say one versus the other. And then promotional strategies using Google My Business posts and updates. And measuring success. You know what? It's like that. The bar that sits across the bottom cuts off that little spot. Measuring success and adjusting your approach. All right. What we are not going to cover today. So in the time that we have, I am not going to cover up the setup of your Google Business Profile. So if there's plenty of information out there about setting up your GMB, I don't have time today. Maybe if we had twice as much time, we could touch on that, but that's not really what I'm going to go into. I'm going to be talking more about optimizing it and getting it so that you're getting phone calls because of it. Verification of your GMB can be easy, can be a nightmare. If you choose not to use an address, Google puts you through a much more complicated process, but you can get it done. That's how I had to do it. But we're not going to be really jumping into that. We're not going to be talking about CRM integration of your Google My Business. And or are we going to be talking about paid advertising? Everything I do today is just good practices, best practices for getting into that 3-pack and building a reputation through Google My Business so that you can get the phone calls and turn those into revenue. All right. Understanding the power of Google My Business for what we do. So Google My Business, it's the modern day Yellow Pages. If you're old enough to remember when they used to put a book in your driveway and that was the yellow pages, or, you know, if you were in and around New York and it was thick enough that you could sit on it and use it as a booster seat back in the day. That's, you know, yellow pages used to be a paper book that showed up at your house and people would pay to advertise there. And now it's, you know, Googling, you know, notary near me or whatever service or product you need. Um, so you really want to be listed. You are leaving money on the table if you are not getting into Google My Business and engaging with your page and having a reputation through your page. So customer engagement tools, reviews, posts, Q&As, and messaging. So Google used to have a messaging aspect of Google My Business. They've taken that away, but they now, in place of it, you can do direct, you know, it can text you directly, or you can put your WhatsApp information there and it can send you, people can engage with you through WhatsApp. And analytics and insights. So if you have a Google business page, Google is going to send you a weekly email saying how you did that week, how many posts you did, how many calls you got, how many clicks through to your website from your Google business page you got, all of that information. So it's really good to see if you can tell on the weeks that you're posting a lot what's working. If you have a page, if you have a week where you don't post or you got lazy about it and it didn't happen, you can kind of see where things are going to drop off. I can say from my personal experience that when I post more frequently, the phone is certainly ringing more frequently. You know, Google Analytics are kind of a, I'm not sure anybody fully understands it except for the programmers at Google, but you know, I know that when I have a week where I don't post a lot, I dropped. You know, I checked yesterday, I was down to number 6. Now I've been sick all week, so I've actually marked my business as closed for the last 2 days. I'm getting over a not getting over a cold. It was COVID, but cold-like symptoms. So I just couldn't be out there doing loan signings the last 2 days. So I had my business marked as closed and hadn't posted this week. So I dropped. Yesterday I posted, I'm back open, and I'm back in the 3-pack today. So it's all about how much engagement you are getting with your page. All right, and you have your local search rankings. Now this is really where I think Google does a much better job than if you are engaging with Yelp. You know, if you ever put a profile on Yelp, I'm certain that within 24 hours, you were going to start getting marketing phone calls from them. They really want you to advertise. And not to criticize Yelp, it works probably well for people that have, service businesses where they want to go in a really wide area. However, for things like general notary work, where, you know, if I have to go across a bridge and pay a toll and stuff like that, I'm going to probably price myself out, you know. And when I found that I advertised on Yelp, I was getting calls for where I am in Rockland County, across the river in Westchester County, you know, that were like 35, 40 minutes away across a bridge that I'd have to charge well over $100 to go to. So for local, Google is much more hyper local and focused. And you can appear in Google Maps. So you can put your business on there, and you can say, hey, I cover Rockland County, I cover Westchester County, I cover these towns in Bergen County. And you will see that it will actually draw a little bit of a map around the areas that you give it, so that people, when they search, they are pulling your information up. And then attracting nearby customers. Again, this is the hyper local aspect of Google. It's really, really convenient that if I search notary near me or whatever service near me, I'm going to be pulling up the ones that are in my town first. All right. So unique benefits for mobile notary. So it's convenient. You can definitely highlight what you're doing. It's basically a free Yellow Pages ad for you. You can sit there and put all your services on there. If you do loan signings, if you do apostille work, if you do estate planning, whatever area of notary you are using, whether it's, you know, could be field services, it could be I-9 verification. You can put all that in there. When somebody searches for that, they are going to pull up, your listing is going to show up. Like I know right now, I don't have anything about like I-9 or field inspections on my Google business page. I don't get any calls for that. That's very rare that I ever engage in that, in those services. And again, you can define your service area so that you're not getting calls from way out outside your service area. Every now and then you will get somebody that just doesn't look where the service area is, and I'll get calls from somebody in Dutchess County or wherever. And then this is the feature I want to highlight the most is the customer testimonials. And I'm going to show you a couple different ways to get those towards the end of this presentation. We're definitely going to be going into that and the power of getting those customer reviews, because it is huge for your business and for your ranking. All right, optimizing your profile. So when you first set up your Google business profile, it's going to give you options for obviously a business description. This is what you want to use, a really clear description of what you do. And this is somewhere, if you're not a good copywriter, if you're not very good with explaining yourself, use AI for this. You know, ChatGPT can certainly produce something like this. However, you obviously want to go through it. You want to read through it, make sure that it's making sense for what you are doing. You don't want to trust ChatGPT with legalese without definitely some safeguards and double checking everything. But in terms of describing your notary business, it can put in some keywords that will definitely help you when search algorithms are combing through your stuff. So a clear service explanation. You want to describe clearly what your services are and what you are offering to your customers. You want to emphasize your professionalism. You want to use this as a way to build trust. One thing that old Yellow Pages did not have was a way to, you know, other than a phone call, was, you know, you can communicate with somebody. They can hit the button right on your Google business page and call you directly from there. They can text you from there. And you can interact and engage with them that way. I've had text conversations with people and never talked to them or met them face to face until I showed up at their door. So definitely you want to emphasize that because you want to appear as professional as possible when you're on this platform. And then unique selling points. You can showcase what makes your services unique to attract and differentiate from competitors. So this is what a friend of mine calls your superpower. So you definitely want to spend some time here. If you are bilingual or speak more than one language, you want to emphasize that because, you know, I don't speak Spanish, but I know people that are looking for Spanish speaking notaries all the time. So if you speak Spanish, you definitely want, or are there any other language, you definitely want to highlight that here. If you live near a military base and you have base access, I know where I live, I've done a couple of signings up near West Point. And what they don't tell you is that you need to account for probably an additional 20 to 25 minutes of finding the visitor center and then staying in the, you know, going in there and actually getting a base access pass that will allow you to get to the residential parts of the base. So that's definitely something, if you have that, maybe you have a family member that's in the military and you just have a base access, that is a superpower. That is, you know, something you want to list. You know, again, things like mobile scanner, mobile printer, languages you speak, anything that can be used to differentiate you from the competition, you definitely want to have that in there. All right, selecting relevant service categories. So when you're setting up your Google business page, it's going to say what categories do you want it to do. Obviously, you're going to pick the notary ones, and then it will allow you to, within notary, you can pick things like estate planning and loan signing and stuff like that. And if it doesn't have it listed, you can actually add it yourself. That's something that Google will allow you to do. They have a list of you know, kind of pre-canned ones that are in there. But if you have something that's not in there that you want to add, it will allow you to type it in yourself. So, and then, you know, adding service attributes, features like mobile services, you know, you can talk about the distance you're willing to travel. That's also when the map, when you bring up your Google business page, there's a little map of your area that kind of will have a highlight around it of what area you cover. That's based off of the towns that you're going to list or counties that you list in your profile. So definitely very important to have. So this is a shot of my Google business profile, and move the box around here a little bit. All right. So this is me. Um, you know, 240 reviews. I've worked very hard at that, and we're going to talk about that later. About how to get those reviews, working that in. I know some of you may be apprehensive about asking for that review, and I'll show you some of the situations that I don't ask for reviews, but in almost nine out of 10 situations, I'm asking for that review, and I will show you really good methods for making sure that you get it. So again, clear business. This is my description over here. State Line Notary, formerly known as Empire State Notary Services. I'm saying my name, where I'm based, where I'm commissioned, what services I provide, and then up top here, these are the categories that we were talking about before. So estate planning, loan signing and closing, apostille, and general notary work. Now, the apostille one, when I went to add that, that's not a category that Google has listed. So I was able to type that in and add that. Google does allow you that flexibility. All right. And then obviously you want to have things like your hours listed. Obviously your phone number, you can connect that so that you can, obviously they can click that call button and call you directly. You can share it, save it, etc. All right, utilizing keywords and target location targeting. So keyword integration, again, these are when somebody's searching on, in your area for a notary, or it could be, I've had many times where I've had, somebody from this area buying or selling a piece of property in, say, a state like Florida. And because they use attorneys around in New York for closings, they went and sought out an attorney in Florida, which attorneys in Florida are not necessary for the closings. You typically go through title, but they went with that. So when it comes time for closing, the Florida attorney is like, hey, I need a notary up there, notary near me, or notary in, where I live, Nanuet, New York, and boom, you're going to pop up. So you want to get, you definitely want to say things like loan closings, and the proper keywords need to be in your profile so that when somebody's doing that search, whether it's in area or out of area, you are the one that they are seeing. And location targeting, again, going back to Google's very hyper-specific, hyper-local location is getting a service area that you can define. So like I was saying before that I signed up with Yelp and I canceled it after about a week because every lead that they sent me was way outside my normal service area. They were sending stuff that was an hour away. And again, it just wasn't a good use of my money to, try to target areas that are an hour away for things like general notary work where I'm paying I'd have to charge you a travel fee to go do that. Which could be, if I'm driving an hour away, could be rather significant for something that might just be a simple affidavit or something like that. All right, engaging your customers and building trust through Google My Business. So the things you can do are encourage your clients to give you a review. If you've had a great signing with them, whether it was just a simple affidavit or whether it was a loan signing or an estate planning, feed off the good feeling everybody has at the end of the thing and ask for a review. Also, responding promptly. This is really key. Is if somebody is texting you and leaving you, or you're in a signing and somebody else calls you and leaves a voicemail, is to respond as soon as you walk out of that signing, because they might just be going down the list of notaries near them. and if you just started an hour-long loan signing, by the time you get out an hour later, they may have already found one of your competition. So obviously you can't respond if you're in a loan signing, or maybe you can just shoot them a quick text, be like, hey, I'm going to call you back as soon as I finish this up. I should be done, in 1 hour. But responding promptly definitely builds rapport with them. It's showing your commitment to professionalism. And I have many, many times had people, thank me, being like, wow, thank you for calling back so quickly. So it's really, really important that you are responding to all the inquiries you're getting through your Google business page. And the impact on professional climate. So those reviews and professional responses are building trust. And that in turn is going to attract more potential clients to your business. So whether that's them leaving you a review, them saying, hey, wow, I had a really great, if they're an attorney, and I had a really great session with Rob and I want to refer him. And then, they refer you on to their partner or they're a fellow attorney, and now you're getting business from them as well. So as much as this is a portal and a place for you to show off your professionalism, when it comes time to actually engage with your customers, you just need to be as professional as possible. All right, using Q&A and messaging features. So as I said, so Google My Business used to have a chat feature, which was actually quite nice. I had people engage me with that all the time. They get Google Notary near me, and there was a chat button, and it was a little Google app that would pop up, and you could send messages back and forth to each other. Google got rid of that a little over a year ago, and now you can either get an SMS message or a WhatsApp message. So if you have obviously WhatsApp is going to your personal phone number. So if you have a separate phone for business, feel free to put that in there. I put in my Google business number that they can text me on. So it's not my personal cell phone number, but they can feel free to, if they go to my business profile, they can text me on my Google business number. And I monitor that all the time and I respond to everything that I get through it. All right. So promotional strategies. All right. So now this doesn't really impact, this is kind of some service-based industries. There's not too many things that we would necessarily do as notaries for discounts, but you could potentially, if you were trying to get some business in an area, offer some sort of discount. You can also offer discounts that if you are going to someone's house for, say, an estate plan signing, I always do the spouse, if there's two of them, I charge a certain amount for the first person. And then I typically charge 50% off for the second person because I'm already there. I'm there. The witnesses are there. It's only a few extra minutes to add to get an additional set of docs signed once you're already there. So you can promote that as well. Definitely, if you have taken on a new feature or a new service, add that. So if you've recently started doing apostille work and you want to showcase that, that is definitely something that you should do. I've recently started doing and partnering with other notaries doing apostille work. So I recently added that to my profile. I still have not done a lot of them, but it's now something that I'm more comfortable taking on. I avoided it for almost 3 years, and now I'm going to start using that. And then use clear call to action. So when you do a post on Google Business Profile or you Google My Business, you have the option to incorporate calls to action, and that can be a call button, that can be a text button, that can be a lot of things. So, and you will see that. We'll get into that a little bit. So, and these are the things that, again, you can post on your Google business page. There is a social media aspect to it. You can post on it just like you can post on Facebook or Instagram. But keep in mind that you want to be sharing information about your business. You can be sharing information about notary trends. sharing practical tips about notary processes, regulatory updates. When there's something new comes around, you want to talk about, Ron, that you just got Ron certified, and you can talk about how that Ron became law of the land in the state of New York in January of 2023, right? So lots of things you can talk about here. And then you can highlight community involvement, connects your business with other local audiences. So, if you're involved in your community and you just, we're helping out at, a local dog shelter, or you were engaged at a local, warming center or something like that for the homeless, feel free to add content like that. It's showing that you're human. You're not just a cold business that, and you can put this in as both posts and as photos. So that's definitely something you want to know. And I know people that will post photos to their Google business profile every day. Why? Because that is just showing Google that you are continuing to move and you are there and you are paying attention to this. What the Google algorithm likes to see is involvement and things changing on your page, whether that's a review, whether that's you posting things, responding to reviews that people left you, adding new photos, and somehow engaging with your Google business profile. So that is a huge thing that they just want to see movement on your page. So whether you went out and got 3 or 4 reviews that week, and now you want to, Google's going to say, oh, wow, somebody posted 3 or 4 reviews. You should also go and you should like those reviews, and then you should respond to those reviews, because that's even further showing that you are engaging. So it's not just one-sided. All right. And I apologize. So we're going to do questions at the end. I'm looking I see the numbers there of some folks have left some Q&A. We're going to do questions at the end. All right. Measuring success and adjusting your approach. So as I said, Google's going to send you an email once a week showing you your metrics for the week. It's going to show you how many calls, how many searches you appeared in, how many calls you got because of it, how many followed through to your website. And it's going to show you a week over week timeline. So you can play around with this. You could try posting 7 days one week and then just try posting 1 day the next week and see how those numbers change and fluctuate. And then you'll be able to gauge what kind of is the perfect amount of posting for you. I can certainly say from my experience, the more I post, the more my phone rings. So it's definitely not to be slept on that you want to be posting it. And again, if you're posting things like pictures, it does not have to be notary related. I know somebody, they'll just, this time of year, they'll go and they'll post pictures of colorful trees that they're finding on as they're walking around doing their notarization. Or, hey, here's a picture of the dog that I just met at the last notarization I did. Right? It doesn't have to be notary related, you sitting with a client, stamp in hand, that kind of thing. If you want to do posts like that, feel free. But as far as photos, it's just nobody's, a lot of times people don't even look at those photos, but the Google algorithm is seeing that as activity on your profile, and it will rank you higher for that. Okay. And this is actually, I kind of jumped ahead there. This is kind of what I just talked about, that you're going to get a weekly email from Google showing your search inquiries, who clicked through to your website, who clicked through the call button, how many phone calls you got, how that compared week over week to the previous week. And it's going to allow you, and you can say, hey, I posted 6 days this week. My interaction went way up. I'm now in the 3-pack. I'm getting noticed. But maybe all that attention did not translate to me getting phone calls and me getting revenue. So then you want to tweak your approach based on that. Okay. And so this is, I say conclusion, it's misleading. I actually have some more stuff after this that we're going to go into, specifically how to talk about and how to get and attract reviews and what you should do with them once you get them. So conclusion, increase visibility. You want to utilize Google My Business to help You appear prominently in online searches and maps. Now, a couple of things. I said I wasn't going to necessarily talk about the setup. Um, I know some notaries that put their home address in there. I chose not to. There is a separate process of whether for verification. Um, you also want to make sure that every email address you have associated with your profile has been verified by Google. Um, I have a second email address on my profile, and after about a year of having that, I wake up one Monday morning and Google had deactivated my account simply because the second email address had not been verified through them. And of course, there's no information. You know, you put it through a review process, and I can tell you that the phones went silent that week. I got no general notary work at all. Um, and you know, by Friday they said, okay, we reviewed it. Yeah, we're going to turn everything back on, and then it's about a 5 day ramp up period for you to actually get indexed and back in the search results. You can actually get access to your profile like on day one. You'll start to get indexed again around like day 2 or 3. And it's just a very slowly kind of working your way through the Google machine that you'll actually, you know, if you were in the 3 pack, all of a sudden you might be like number 12. And then, you know, slowly you'll rank back up to where you should be. But what I've said here is I want you to build trust with your clients, engaging them through your business profile, whether that's via text message, and definitely calling them as soon as they are calling you, or texting them back as soon as they are texting you. If you are in the middle of a signing, many times I've seen a phone call come in, and then, you know, if you have a Google Voice number, you know, it will give you a transcript basically of what they said. Um, I just, hey, excuse me 1 second. I just text them back, hey, I'll be with you. I'm in a signing right now. I will call you back in about an hour. Great. And then make sure you call them as soon as you're walking out of that signing. And then you're going to be using this to attract more customers. I have definitely my experience that the more you post on this, the more your phone is going to ring for those folks that are searching notary near me. You know, they need a notary in the area. And you know, clients like and notaries like the ones at UPS and you know, the library may not be for them. They may need somebody for a homebound person. You know, they may have a loved one or relative that's homebound that they need you to come to them. So obviously this is feeding into the mobile aspect of what we do. And you want to engage with them and say, absolutely, you know, when they say, I need a notary that can come to my house because my 85-year-old mother is homebound and we need to get this document signed. Absolutely, we can do that for you. All right. All right, so here's what we're gonna this is the last section that I'm gonna do, and then I'm gonna start clicking on the chat and the Q&A, and we'll answer some questions and open it up for more questions. So do's and don'ts. Don't ask for a review if your signing went badly, goes without saying. Um, if you were late, if the signer is elderly and might have trouble with technology. Now, a caveat here, if somebody's, you know, daughter hires you to take care of their elderly mother or father, feel free to ask the daughter for the review. But you know, if it's just an elderly person that they're like, you know, they don't use computers that much, that kind of thing, I skip the review at that point. Or if the signer might have religious reasons. I know where I am in Rockland County, we have a lot of Orthodox and Hasidic folks that do a lot of needed a lot of notarizations. But if they're rocking a flip phone, I'm not asking for the review. Mm. All right. So 3 methods of getting reviews. And I got back another 2 or 3 slides, and then we're going to take questions. So text them the link. And I have to say, I started off with this. If you go into your Google business profile, Google provides a link that I'll show you in a second for texting a link to them. I started out doing this, and I have to say maybe 1 or 2 out of 10 people would leave me a review based on this method. You know, you text it to them, they'll say, "Oh, great, I'll get to that later." You know, but it's sitting underneath their 20 favorited or pinned texts, you know, their family, their best friends, stuff like that. Um, and you're just not, you know, it's rare that you get it. Sometimes if you do it right then and there, maybe they'll click on it and they'll start filling it out right then and there. Great. But I have found this to be ineffective. I was getting 1, maybe 2 out of 10 people actually responding to me this method. Google My Business now provides a QR code. You can feel free to use that QR code to get that review. You can print it out. I would suggest you print it. You can save it to your desktop, download it, print it out, go get it laminated, and then you can bring that around with you to signings. That's a great method for doing it. My personal favorite is an NFC card, and I will explain more about that in a minute. All right. So this is in your Google business profile. You're in your profile now. This is where this little red circle is ask for reviews. And that is going to have both your Google business profile review link that will go directly to your Google business profile and your QR code. So you can save as, download that, print it off, and then laminate it if you want. And then you can use, or you can use the link. What I did when I first started out was I was using that link. I'd save it into a Google Doc or you know, text editor on my phone that I could quickly access, copy, paste it, and text it to the people. I moved past that method. All right, this is the one I really want to share with everyone. This is what I do. NFC tools. So get NFC cards. These are blank ones. I hope you can see this. So you can buy these off of Amazon. A 12 pack of these costs about $8. You need one. And then you're going to go use this free tool. It is available on both Android and Apple. And then what you do is you take this review link right here, and you are going to come over to this. You're going to copy that review link. You're going to go over to NFC tools, and it's very easy. I'm not going to necessarily do a live demo here right now, but it's very easy to go in. You take the card, you enter it, and you can basically paste the link. And I am not super technologically gifted, but I can. I did it in about 5 minutes or less. You paste the link, and it's going to say, "Okay, tap the card on there to read it." You do that, and then now this card has your Google My Business review link in it. All right. What I then do, oops, not going to jump there yet. I'm going to show you one thing though. So can everybody see that, or is it like my screen thing, like blurring it off? Everybody see my phone?
I can't see your phone.
Hmm.
We see the NFC card, NFC tools.
Oh, all right. Hold on. My camera still on? Um, so, all right. So it's a, you guys can see me
Oh
if
yeah,
my
I can
video.
see you there. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Melissa had to clarify for me. That's what happens when you drink decaf
Okay.
coffee. Yes, we got you.
So this is the NFC card, right? This is one I have programmed for it has my Google business page link in it. Again, these are about $8 for a dozen of them on Amazon. The NFC tool software is free, and this takes about a minute and a half to do once you know what you're doing. So you copy the link, you're going to come over to the NFC tools. It's very straightforward. It's going to say, oh, you want to paste it, you want to put a URL on this card. You do that. It's going to have you tap the card to your phone, and it writes the link on there. You go to your next signing, and you can test this at home. Test it on your wife's phone, your kids' phones. Make sure it's bringing up your Google business page first. I always wrap up my signings. We finish signing the last page. I say, hey, This is great. I'm going to double check everything. Then we're going to wrap up. I double check everything. I do my scans if I need to. I give them a business card and I say, hey, I'd love, now if this is a general notary appointment, I used to avoid those, avoid asking for a review because I'm like, well, I need to sit with somebody for longer than 5 minutes to do that. Now I ask everybody, unless like those categories I was talking about before, that if they're elderly, if they might have a religious objection, something like that, I won't ask those folks, but everybody else is going to get asked. I come along, I say, hey, you probably found me on Google, or I have a Google business page. I'd love it if you could leave me a review. This is super awkward the first time you do it. If you are not in the habit of asking for reviews, you need to get into the habit of asking for reviews and start out during your general notary appointments because those people searched notary near me and they picked you. So you say, hey, you probably found me on Google. They say, oh, yeah, I found you on Google. I'd love it if you could leave me a review. All right. You're going to go to their phone. You're going to say, hey, I got this. You're going to take this out of your wallet or your bag. And if they have an Apple phone, it is on the front near the camera. You're going to cover the camera here and it's going to show up. If they have an Android, I think I have to like block it. If they have an Android, you do that. All right. And the Android is on the middle in the back of the thing. Just knowing where to tap it on the card, on the phone itself, it can sometimes take a second or two to come up. So Apple, top front near the camera, Android on the back in the middle, and it's going to bring up the link. You hit open link, and it brings you right to your Google business page. All right. People are going to be like, that's so cool. Oh my goodness, that's so neat. Now, if they've got an older phone and it doesn't have an NFC on it, maybe you go to the texting them the link, or maybe you have the QR code. But I have found this when I started utilizing this method, I went from about 1 to 2 out of 10 signings getting a review to probably about 7 or 8 out of 10. So this was key. They have these, if you got like the dot card type of thing, exact same technology. It's just NFC, it's built into your phone. If their phone's not responding, they might have NFC turned off. You could just ask them to turn it on really quick, scan your card, turn it back off again. If they're on an Apple and they don't use Google that often, they might need to sign into Google. Um, but just another way to get reviews, very effective. And again, I struggled getting the first 50 reviews that I have. I now have 240 reviews. Um, and that's just, I started adding them at a pace of about 15 a month or so once I started utilizing this. So very effective tool. And I wish you all the best of luck with it. And now, questions. All right, I am going to stop sharing.
We'll scroll the chat. I want to say two things in regards to asking for reviews, though. One is, um, don't think of reviews as compensation as well. So like here in New York, we can only charge $2 per notarization, and I have an office. A lot of times people will come in and get something notarized, and rather than charge $2, because that's embarrassing, I will say, I will waive my fee if you wouldn't mind leaving me a review. It's perfectly okay to ask for that. You don't need to do it every time, but it's certainly an option for you. And the second one is, and this sounds like you're gonna be like, Marcy, I'm not sure about that. We had a Google expert who said you can ask them for a review and have them do it while they're still there with you. So you can say, hey, I'd love a review. I'm gonna send you the link, or here you can scan the QR code, or however, while I'm writing your receipt or verifying the information or double checking documents, feel free to leave that review. It sort of puts them a little bit on the spot for you, but they'll get that removed before they go. So two other options, if you're comfortable with either of those, certainly consider them. I've done both, and both sort of work. Rob, I'm going to give you the ones that are in the Q&A, and then we'll scroll the chat. So they want to know, how long did it take you to get your Google business page verified?
Gosh, it was very long ago and it was a painful process, so I kind of blocked it out of my memory. I want to say it was about a week and a half to 2 weeks. Um, getting it verified. So if you don't use your address, Google kind of puts you through a separate process where they might ask you to submit a video. And they want it to be a 1 minute long, unedited video where you're showing the cross street. In my case, it was the cross street, your business license, and your address. So I live in like the middle of a half circle. I'm like right in the middle. I'm like 150 yards away from the cross, the street signs. So I start out there. I shoot the street signs. I shoot my notary certificate, and then I'm like running with the phone in my hand to try to do that. It was painful. If you can do it with your address, they'll instantly verify you, but then your address is showing up on Google Maps as, hey, this is, you can show up at, and you might have somebody show up at your house. So I went through the longer verification process because my address is not going to appear on my Google business page. So, but that can also cause some other problems because like I said, I have had twice, I've had my Google business page taken down. Both times it was over verification of the email address because I had one email address and right in the very beginning, so it wasn't that big a deal. I didn't have that many reviews on it. And then the second time it was right after I hit 100 reviews, and they took it down. So little information, they don't give you any warning. I woke up, it was a Monday morning. I come downstairs, I'm sipping my tea, and the first thing I see is an email from Google saying we disabled your profile. And there was some vague reference to an email address not being verified. Granted, it was another Gmail address that I've had for like 15 plus years, but okay. So go through the process, and like I said, takes about 5 days. They took it down on Monday. I got it back on Friday, and by the following Monday, I was mostly back and running. So
All right.
it's a painful thing, I have to say. When they take you down, you start looking for other options. That's actually when I started looking at Yelp, and Yelp was just so not good for my business. It doesn't work very great for general notary work where it's just it might be a quick little one. Somebody's not going to pay $100 for one signature, and all the stuff I was getting requests for was over in Westchester, which is 45 minutes away. So
I just want to address a comment from Maya. Actually, we spoke to someone at Google about asking for a review, and it's a form of compensation. What you can't ask a person for is, please leave me a 5-star review. You can ask a person to honestly review your business, and that was acceptable to Google and the Google expert we spoke to. You can also, if you don't feel comfortable using it for Google, you can use it for your website, for Yelp, for Angie's List. I mean, you can put it anywhere. So the key to this is not asking them to leave you a 5-star review or a positive review. You want to ask them for an honest review of your business, and Google said that was acceptable. All right.
and
go ahead.
And just remember, I mean, you're in control of that. So if the signing went horribly, hey, everybody have a nice day.
Sure.
You don't have to ask for it. I'm rarely, if ever, late. I always try to make sure I'm on my appointments early and great communication with my customers. So things typically go smoothly, but you never know, particularly with loan signings. You may get docs late from a lender or whatever. If they're still in a huff at the end of the signing, maybe you just pass on that one. There'll be plenty of other opportunities to get good reviews. And also with if you are part of like networking groups or something like that, where hey, I got in front of the group and did like a longer talk, like today, 10-minute talk or whatever. Hey, everybody go leave Rob a review today. Sometimes Google sees that activity as somebody's trying to do something on your page and can actually shut you down. So you say, hey, you know what? Some of you leave it today. Some of you leave one tomorrow. Maybe some of you leave it, 2 days from now. I personally, I have like 6 or 7 out of my 240 reviews are from people in my networking groups that maybe have not used my services. I really don't encourage that. I like people using my services and then leaving me an honest review for the work that I've done. So that's my approach to it. I don't push that. You know, I like it when somebody can speak honestly and say, hey, or you can speak to the character of the person because you know them and you know that they show up on time and say, hey, Rob's going to do a great job because he always shows up on time, that kind of thing. So,
To speak to that, and I think what Rob made a good point is what you can do, like if you're looking for a review from a signing company or an attorney, you can have them email you a little blurb and then turn it into a little JPEG on Canva or whatever and post that as one of your pictures on your Google profile. There are ways to do that to still show. So you have a little post, something an attorney said nice about you, and you can put it on there and use it for socials as well. So
um,
that's a good point.
I do that all the time.
Hmm.
I take reviews from the week. I take the best one that I got from the week. I have a little Canva template, copy paste, drop it over into Canva. I don't put the person's full name. I'll typically put their first name and their last initial and save it, download it. I typically I utilize AI a lot to just do copy on my posts. I'll drop that into Chat GPT and say, here's a post. I call it 5-Star Fridays. Here's a post that I'm doing for 5-Star Friday. Give me a good post for Instagram and Facebook or Google Business. It pops out a little bit of verbiage. Drop that into my, now I use a CRM for doing my posting. I drop that into my CRM and it posts it. And that's how I, you know, turn around and use those reviews. And then also you can like your reviews. So when you get the notifications through Google Business that somebody left you a review, go in there. It's a little map. It's the little maps icon with that little teardrop looking one. You go in there, you click on it and go heart the review that they left you. That's showing more engagement with the review. I then will take the top one from the week. Like I said, drop it into Canva, get a little verbiage from ChatGPT, and then repost that on both Facebook, Instagram. Sometimes I put those out on Google My Business, but that's showing, again, engagement with Google Business Profile, which is what Google loves. There's nobody sitting at Google watching to see how many things you're doing this week. They are watching, you know, they're just watching how many people are engaging with your page and what it is. Again, those pictures could be of anything. It could be of dogs, it could be of trees, it could be whatever. Um, you know, I went to like, you go to my, I don't post pictures that often. I'll do posts, but I don't post just photographs. And I went to like the Ren Fair a couple months ago and I took some pictures and I posted a couple of them up there just to show some engagement on the page. But if you go to mine, you see a lot of posts. So that's something important to do and that you can get that out there. And that engagement is what's going to keep you ticking up higher in the thing. And like I said, I had been closed for a couple days this week because I got sick. I had dropped. Um, you know, I dropped in the rankings. I dropped out of the 3-pack. But yesterday I posted. I got re-engaged. I responded to some comments that had reviews that had gotten left, and I checked this morning. I was back to number 2. So that's really what you want to stay is in that 3-pack. Um, and a lot of times I compete with the local UPS store, and there is actually a Ron Notary service that is in my town. So I compete with them as well. And then one other notary, and the 4 of us kind of rotate through the 3-pack on a regular basis. So again, just keeping up with that engagement is key. And remember your superpower, make sure you're posting about it because the notary at UPS is not going to see your grandma at her bedside to go do that. That is your superpower. If you're speaking another language, that is your superpower. And you want to make sure that that is on your Google business page and talk about it frequently.
So someone asked about a CRM. I'm going to say, I don't know what Rob uses in health in a minute. If you're looking about posting, we use Metricool over here. It's not a true CRM. It does post for you and it posts on all of the socials, including your Google business profile. So if you're looking for a way to automate a little bit and to make some time saving efforts here, using a system like that is great because you can take your post and put it in Metricool and tell it when to post on each platform, and it automatically does it for you. So you don't always have to remember to go on each, each one to do it separately. Certainly there
Yeah,
are lots of platforms
if
like that. Look into that.
if I'm on my game, I'm doing all my posting for the next week on Sunday. So The CRM that I use is Go High Level, but it's actually through the loan signing system, so it's been more customized for notaries. They've kind of there's so many options and they've trimmed that down to just kind of what notaries need, but called Go High Level. It's actually, I believe it's actually free. Or no, I'm sorry. I want to say it's $97 a month, but I'm not sure if there's a free level or not. All right, just going through the questions. Do you pay for Google Voice? No, you do not. You can pay for it. There's a free option. I use the free number. Um, there is a paid option for, more local numbers, stuff like that. I see people saying to incorporate FAQs on the Google business page. How is that done? So that is, you can put your services up there. Let me just see what it is called.
While Rob is looking that up, I'm going to say you should ask everyone for a review. Loan signing clients, people that you made copies for, general notary work, apostilles, anyone
Yeah.
that you provided a service for, you should ask for a review.
Yeah, it's called like questions and answers. You can put it up there. You can populate that with commonly asked questions, so that you will be able to answer questions for folks. To make sure that you're the right person that they should be calling. When I first changed Gmail addresses to change my mind, now I have too many notary Gmails. This is a problem when trying to get verified. I would say stick with one. I changed the name. I got a DBA, and changed the name of my business through a DBA that doesn't change the name of the LLC. So I got a new email address, but to the signing services, I have never changed my email address. I won't change it on Google either. It's just not worth it. But yeah, stick with one. Um, the one that you probably get the most email through today. And then what I do is I forward all my Gmail accounts to one Gmail account. That way you're not missing any emails. Only caveat to that is every now and then, if something slips into the spam filter of the original account, it won't get forwarded. But, it's one way to do it. And then let me see, Cynthia, with signing services, frown on us for asking a borrower for review. It's a judgment call. The signing service is typically not there. You're asking for a review of your performance, not necessarily of the lender, the title company, or the signing service. You are the face of that person in front of them. So I don't hesitate to ask if I'm going there from a signing service. However, if it's a direct, and there's like, if you've ever done a New York closing, you know that there's like a million people sitting around the table. I typically don't ask during those. But if it's just a general notary work assignment, or if it's a direct that I'm getting from another attorney that is just me and a signer sitting in their home or office, yes, I ask. When it's a big group setting like a New York closing, no, I don't typically ask.
You can ask your signing service for a review too. You can ask your client, your attorney, your
Yeah,
signing company, your title company.
and give them one too. I mean, they usually, there's some that actively welcome that. So, how
All right,
often
one
should
more
be?
question, yeah, and then this will be it.
Okay. Thank you so much for everyone. I appreciate all the engagement. I thought it was going to be like 5 people showing up, and I think we hit over 80. So this is amazing. How often should you be posting? Again, play with it. You can try every single day, and see how often. I know somebody that will go and just post a picture from their day. They're walking and they see a dog walking down the street. They'll post that to their Google business page. Again, it doesn't really matter what the picture is. It's showing involvement and engagement, which Google algorithms love. So thank you all so much.
Rob, thank you so much. This was great information. I saw lots of great comments and stuff in the comments. So thank you everyone for joining today. Certainly appreciate you. And I appreciate Rob sharing his expertise. We really enjoyed the session. I hope to see you in some more sessions this afternoon, but if not, I hope you all have a great weekend.
Thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
Everybody have a great day.